Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into the profound story of Prophet Ibrahim, who you might also know as Abraham. His life is just so foundational in many of the world's religions. And what's really fascinating to me isn't just his incredible devotion, but how he powerfully combined that deep faith with pure reason. So let's just start with a big question that really frames his entire journey. What is the ultimate test of faith? Is it some single, dramatic, movie-like moment? Or is it something quieter, like a lifetime of just sticking to your convictions? Let's keep that in the back of our minds as we explore Abraham's incredible story. All right, so our story begins with a young Ibrahim, and he's living in a society that, well, it seems to have gotten pretty lost when it comes to logic. It's a world just filled with idols. And get this, Ibrahim's own father, Azar, was a craftsman. He literally carved the gods his community worshipped from stone and wood. But Ibrahim was different. From a young age, he'd look at these silent statues, and he just couldn't accept them as divine. Something didn't sit right. He felt this deep pull to search for a greater truth. And this wasn't some blind leap of faith. It was a total intellectual journey. He was really methodical. He started with the stars, thinking, okay, maybe this is my Lord. But then, well, they set, they disappeared. So he moved on to the brighter, more impressive moon, but it also faded away. Finally, he looked to the sun. I mean, the most powerful thing he could see, but even the sun had to set in the evening. After watching the cycle play out, he came to a really powerful and logical conclusion. For him, the divine couldn't be temporary. It couldn't just come and go. It had to be constant, eternal, and unchanging. And so, after logically dismissing everything that was created, he turned his devotion to the one unseen creator of everything. This moment right here, it marks the end of his search and the very beginning of his mission. You know, finding the truth is one thing, but defending it? That's a whole other story. This is where his intellectual belief gets put to the test, and it's gonna demand immense physical courage in his first great trial. So picture this, the townspeople are all away at a festival, and Ibrahim walks right into their temple, completely alone, with all the idols, and he confronts them. He asks these simple yet profound questions. He's not just talking to himself here, he's highlighting their complete and total powerlessness. And then he makes this really dramatic, calculated move. This isn't just random destruction. By leaving that largest idol totally untouched, he's setting up this perfect logical trap for his people and their powerful king. Just as he expected, when the people return, they are furious. Ibrahim is dragged before the tyrannical King Nimrod. The confrontation is just incredibly tense. I mean, this is one man of faith against the entire power structure of his society. And Ibrahim's response? It's genius. Absolutely genius. With one simple sentence, he turns their entire belief system right on its head. He basically challenges them to ask their so-called God what happened, knowing perfectly well that it can't possibly answer. The impact is immediate. They're all silenced. There's no argument they can make. Their own knowledge of their idol's limitations becomes the proof of Ibrahim's point. He completely cornered them with their own flawed logic. So, defeated by logic, what does King Nimrod do? He resorts to brute force. He orders Ibrahim to be thrown into a massive fire. But at that very moment of execution, a miracle occurs. A divine command completely alters the nature of the fire, turning it from a place of death into a place of absolute safety. Ibrahim walks out, completely unharmed, a living testament to the power he serves. So years pass. Ibrahim's faith has been tested by fire. But now comes a trial that is so much more personal and emotionally devastating. A test that would challenge the heart of any father. And it's really important to understand this next part. When a prophet like Ibrahim has a dream, it's not like you or I dreaming about something weird. In his tradition, a dream is a form of divine revelation. It's a direct command that has to be taken with the utmost seriousness. This dialogue, it's just incredible. Notice the tenderness in Ibrahim's words, "Oh my dear son," even as he's delivering this terrifying command. And Ismail's response is just as astounding. There's no fear, there's no rebellion, only complete faith and submission. It's this shared conviction between a father and his son. And so they go to the site of the sacrifice. At the very last moment, just as Ibrahim is about to carry out the command, a voice from the heavens stops him. You see, the test was never about the act itself, but about the willingness to obey, the absolute trust in the divine command, no matter how impossibly difficult it seemed. And so the trial is complete. Their faith was proven to be absolute. A ram is provided as a substitute, and this very event is what is commemorated by millions of Muslims every single year during the festival of Eid al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice. It's a global reminder of this ultimate act of obedience.
So why does this ancient story still resonate so deeply with us today? I really think it's because the trials of Ibrahim aren't just historical events. They're just filled with these timeless lessons about faith and reason and conviction.
So what are the core lessons here? First, use your intellect. Faith isn't blind. It actually begins with questioning. Second, trust completely, even when you're facing impossible trials. Third, true obedience ultimately leads to a sense of peace. Fourth, real faith means having the courage to do what's right, no matter how hard it is. And finally, that patience and sincerity are always, always rewarded. And that brings us to a final thought. Ibrahim challenged the idols of stone and wood in his time. His story kind of invites us to look at our own world, our own lives, and ask, what are the modern idols, the ideas, the traditions, the societal pressures that we are called to question with that same courage and reason? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.